Hello and welcome to another Motors.co.uk video review. Today we're going to be looking at the Honda CR-V, but before we get there, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Motors.co.uk YouTube channel so that you never miss a video each and every time we upload one. This is the new CR-V and it's Honda's latest entry into the bustling mid-size SUV segment, battling against the likes of the Skoda Kodiaq and the Peugeot 5008. With well-known reliability on its side, as well as sharp looks, it should prove to be quite the contender. But are there any chinks in this CR-V's armour, and are there any areas in which it could improve? That's what we're here today to find out. The first thing worth pointing out is that this particular Honda CR-V has a pretty comprehensive aero body kit fitted as an optional extra. It adds all manner of sharp dynamic touches and it really helps to lift the overall look of the car, though it does weigh in at an additional £2,250. But even without the body kit, the CR-V is a sharp looking thing. It's certainly one of the better looking mid-size SUVs on the market today, in our eyes. The interior of the CR-V is a nice place to be from the start. The seating position is excellent, and you're actually set quite a lot lower than you'd expect for a car of this type. Elsewhere things are good. The buttons for all the major controls are logically laid out and they're nice and large, so they're easy to press when you're on the move. The only real letdown here is the infotainment system. It's simply not as intuitive as rival offerings, and it's just not as responsive nor as clear to use as we'd expect from Honda. But that's something I think they're going to rectify quite soon. Likewise, the steering wheel controls are quite cluttered, and so it's quite easy to press the wrong button when you're moving along. However, generally, things are good. There's plenty of practicality. There's a large storage section down here with a removable plate which makes it even larger, and there are well-sized door bins either side for water bottles, so all in all a practical and spacious place to sit. If you thought the front of the CR-V was a spacious place to be, then you need to think again when it comes to the rear seats. There's tons of room back here. Now the seat is in my seating position and I'm just under 6 foot, and as you can see, loads of legroom and loads of headroom, despite there being quite a large panoramic sunroof. You also get nice deep door bins at the side for water bottles or anything else you can think of, and you get 2 charging ports in the middle for all of your devices. There's also the option of a nice folding armrest with 2 cup holders in the middle. Now, if you do want a little bit more passenger carrying capacity, then it's worth pointing out that there is a 7-seat version of the CR-V available too. Though it's worth pointing out that it isn't available on the hybrid version, only the petrol, like the one we have today. When it comes to boot space, this CR-V does well. There's 561 litres available with the rear seats in place, and that rises to 1,638 litres with those rear seats folded down flat. So one of the biggest things you notice when you immediately get behind the wheel of the CR-V is the driving position. It feels far more sports car-like than you'd expect from a mid-size SUV, and that means that you feel comfortable in the car straight away. There's plenty of adjustability too, so you've got a really nice view out of the front and you've got a good view out of the rear as well. The only thing we would point out is that the pillars are quite large, and that means that you've got quite a big blind spot on the corners there for when you're turning into junctions or looking out to see traffic coming towards you. Elsewhere things are good. The steering weight is nicely judged and the gearbox is a particularly sweet aspect of the driving experience. Honda always seems to nail it, and because this one has a 6-speed manual, it's a really enjoyable part of the overall driving package. Now this car has a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine in it, and that produces just over 170 brake horsepower. That may not sound all that much for a car of this size, but it's more than enough to whisk the car up to speed in a good enough time. Now the only issue is that because it is a petrol engine and because this is actually quite a large car, the economy figures aren't the best. Now Honda claims that you'll get over 42 mpg combined in this model, which is an all-wheel drive version, but we've been seeing around 36, and during town driving it could drop even lower, so that's worth bearing in mind if you are driving urban routes most of all. However, when you are on the motorway, you're likely to get a better economy figure. This CR-V does suffer with quite a crashy ride, and that's probably because of the larger alloy wheels that have been fitted as an optional extra. Now if you did want a better ride, we'd say to fit a smaller alloy wheel, and that would probably take the edge off the lumps and bumps that are affecting this car in particular. The only byproduct of those larger wheels, and because it's actually a relatively stiff car, is that body control is well managed. So through the corners, the CR-V feels far more agile and alert than you'd expect of a car of this type. The 1.5 litre engine also doesn't intrude much into the overall sense of refinement in the cabin. Okay, it sounds quite loud when you work it hard, but elsewhere it settles down really well, and on the motorway it feels very refined indeed. And that's a great aspect for those who are planning on using their CR-V to cover long distances, because it's going to be a lot more comfortable. We think that in many key areas the Honda CR-V simply knocks it out of the park. One of those is design. It looks like nothing else on the road today. Elsewhere, things are really good. It's spacious, it's practical, and it's really well finished too. Yes, the infotainment system does let the side down, but it's countered well by really good practicality and a decent sized boot. In fact, if you were in the market for a new mid-size SUV, we couldn't see a reason why the CR-V shouldn't be on your list.